So, as everyone knows now, Sabrina Mateus failed a drug test. Eddie Hearn has publicly spoken on this, and by saying 9 times out of 10, a fighter fails a drug test, they are guilty. So, Conor Benn so happens to be that 1 out of 10 not being guilty. It's a bit hard to believe. I mean, you've had Eddie Hearn slamming guys over many years for failing drug tests. Jarrell Miller, when he failed that drug test going into the AJ fight, Eddie Hearn absolutely went in on him. Honestly, brutally went in on him. Sabrina Mateus fails a drug test. Eddie Hearn's like, well, let's be real. He's meant to be fighting my fighter, Dalton Smith. 9 out of 10 times they're guilty. Okay, so whenever they're fighting Eddie Hearn's fighter, something happens at least. They're not a matchroom fighter. They're guilty. The 1 out of the 10 are matchroom fighters. That's kind of the logic we're getting out here from Eddie Hearn. It's come out Eddie Hearn's own mouth that 9 times out of 10 drug cheats are guilty, and that's true, really. Or is it 10 times out? Well, it's like it's 9.5 times out of 10 they're guilty. Very little exception. A lot of people why a lot of the reason why many people are getting cleared now is because there's too much money involved in many aspects of them getting cleared in that process. But yeah, look. It's just hypocritical, really. You've got Jarrell Miller slammed him, Sabrina Mateus, making comments like this. There's many more as well, which I can't be bothered getting into because there's just so much, and him just backtracking on everything he's got to say on it all. But it exposes the whole thing, and we're going on about Conor Benn again. Eddie has basically said, he is guilty. He is. Eddie knows that as well. That's why they try to hide it because he's guilty. It exposed the whole thing. The fact that they tried to hide that whole Conor Benn thing. Conor Benn's not the 1 out of the bloody 10. He is the 9 in 10. That is where Conor Benn is. But if you're not, if you're a matchroom fighter, then you're all good. You're not a cheat. And people would say, "Oh yeah, it's just Eddie Hearn's job." It's a big difference. There's a big difference. Even if they are your fighter, they fail a drug test. They've let you down. They've cost you money. You know, look at the amount of money lost for the fans in that original Eubank fight. Eddie Hearn would have lost money from it as well. You know, um, I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. But it's a real shame. Eddie Hearn has been going out for many years, but I feel like every time we hear him speak, he's just more and more hypocritical. He's getting worse and worse over the years. I feel like Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren's not perfect. No, he's not at all. But this guy he's much better than Eddie Hearn when it comes to all of this. He's much better than Eddie Hearn. You don't see him make a load of slimy comments like what Eddie Hearn's doing. And again, Frank Warren's not perfect, but he's not nowhere near as hypocritical as what Eddie Hearn is. Doesn't make the kind of comments he does. It's an absolute joke. But again, it's like the thing is, when Eddie Hearn was promoting Canelo, you know, nothing was spoke about with him, in failing a drug test back in the day, which loads of people refused to talk about. I know Frank Warren promotes Fury and all, but the thing is with Frank Warren is he hasn't slammed drug cheats for years. He hasn't gone in on them like, well, to the extent that Eddie Hearn has, let's say. But I don't like how Eddie Hearn's spoken about this Sabrina Mateus situation. I don't like it at all. Because he's fighting his fighter in Dalton Smith, that's why it's a big problem in Eddie Hearn's eyes. In my eyes, all drug cheats should be banned from boxing. I've always said that. But we're talking about this from how Eddie Hearn's seen it, from Eddie Hearn's perspective. And The double standards are absolutely shocking. But yeah, honestly, it just gets worse and worse every time Eddie Hearn opens his mouth. And again, again, we see the same hypocritical stuff when we talking about, we go back to the Devin Haney situation. Okay. When he was around Team Devin Haney for that Ryan Garcia fight, again, slamming Ryan Garcia, Eddie Hearn was absolutely slamming him. But then we go back to that as well when, just Devin Haney again. He's not promoting Devin Haney for that Brian Norman fight. Okay. Oh, he's boring. He's so boring. So boring. Oh, he can't sell anything. He can't sell shit on it. Like, but when he was promoting him, there wasn't a problem with how Devin Haney fought. Not a problem with it at all. Haney's not the most entertaining fighter in the world. We all know that. But when Eddie Hearn was promoting Devin Haney, it was just, it's just the sweet science. What's everybody talking about? It's just a sweet science. None of these people, none of these fans know what they're talking about. Calling Devin Haney boring. Like, about a year and a half later, it's boring. You can't sell anything. Conor Ben would destroy it. And again, people say he's promoting, but again, you just go back, look at past things. It's just not a good look, and it doesn't add up well. And he just digs such big holes for himself all the bloody time. All the bloody time. Absolutely shocking stuff from Eddie Hearn once again. He's had a hell of a about he's talking about this Sabrina situation. 9 times out of 10, fighters who fail drug tests are guilty. What about Conor Ben? But everyone else who's not a matchroom fighter is just automatically guilty. That's how Eddie Hearn sees it. But when you're a matchroom fighter, he'll even try and hide it. He'll even try and hide it.